Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Losowitz, and welcome to Leading Through Loss, 7 Essential Strategies for Navigating Mass Layoffs. As a people leader, I've been on both sides of this experience. I have remained in organizations and been committed to helping my team move past such an impact, and I've also been impacted and left an organization. Each come with their own challenges. Today, I wanted to focus on what strategies can be taken to ensure a smooth transition, as smooth as possible during a mass layoff. So let's jump into it. First, you're going to want to understand the immediate impacts. Recognize that there will be disruptions to the planned work, the morale, and the organization at large. You need to focus on these impacts as a leader and find your tone of resilience and adaptability. How will you as a leader adapt? And then how will you bring that message to your team? You also need to be ready to focus on that morale impact and address individual concerns, both with immediate thoughts from you as their leader, but also taking those back to others in the organization for feedback and for the path forward. And then you're going to need to start thinking about the future. In the immediate impact of a layoff, it's hard, but as a leader, you need to orient yourself to the next day, the next week, the next month, and even the next year. Start thinking about that from day one within these impacts. You also need to increase your transparency. I think it's important as leaders that we communicate transparently when things are going well, but there is a tendency to bottle up, to tighten the ranks in times of loss and in times of disruption. So share regular updates. Be honest about these new challenges. Don't sugarcoat it for your team. They know things will be difficult, so be honest about your perspective on the new challenges, but also be thinking about how to navigate that. Create this space for your direct reports to voice their concerns, and then filter that up through your hierarchy. Number 3, you really want to keep the team spirit alive. This might be difficult. You might have members of your team that are still there, as well as new members from reorganization. You might have members of your team that are no longer there. So start by focusing on the small wins. These compound. There was work in flight prior to this layoff. There is work that's going to be completed. Focus on those accomplishments. Make sure that if your company has any programs such as EAP or other counseling sessions, you share those with your team. While it might not seem immediately impactful to that team spirit, by getting your team's head straight, by increasing their utilization of those programs, you can help craft that way forward. And then focus on the way that you've been doing coaching and career development. It might not seem like the time to do career development, but this is the exact moment where your team needs to know that you're invested in them and that in spite of or despite these organizational changes, you are there for them to lead them. Number 4, build their professional stories. You might think of this as an annual review aspect where you focus on the accomplishments of the year. Take stock of the accomplishments at year to date, wherever you are in that year, and help your team reflect on those successes. They've done that through difficulties, perhaps not as difficult as a mass layoff, but they have met expectations, exceeded expectations through difficulties. Help them reflect on those successes and then highlight the way that work is coming in. Highlight the future projects, the continuity of work that remains after a layoff, how it will help them with their professional skills, how it will help lead to increased successes. And then demonstrate your dedication to their goals as well as the organizational goals. And this is a key piece. Your dedication needs to be both in your team's camp and the organization's camp. You're going to need to bring these together. There may be a morale hit, a disjointed feeling with the organization. As a leader, you have to bring these back together. And then develop their skills. So we've started thinking about the successes that have been had, the successes that are to come, but start encouraging new approaches to the work. Get creative. This is going to be needed as workflows change, as structures change, as support changes, and focus on any online courses, workshops, free webinars that the team can utilize to get their heads going, think creatively. Right now, AI is, of course, a hot topic. Find ways to leverage AI to make up for some of the loss in headcount. Invest your energy and attention on those that remain. You're going to want to split your attention with folks that are gone and then also bring it back to those that remain. Split that attention, but find ways to focus on those that remain and invest yourself in them. Number 6, you're going to want to prioritize customer needs. This may sound silly, this may sound hilarious even to say in times of mass layoff, but you will need to orient your team to something. What better way to orient your team than to that of the customer? Build motivation through your positive contributions there, through your team's positive contributions. One success leads to two. Share these goals and unite the team. A goal and a focus on customer needs will help bring your team together and give them something to rally around. This might be helpful, especially if the faith in the organization is shaken. Instead of rallying around your organization, rally around those you serve, and then think about how it helps your team members. And then 7, you're going to want to focus on the future. I mentioned this earlier. This can be difficult, but remember, bad times will pass. Remind your team that bad times will pass. And then outline your team's short-term and long-term goals. Give the team something to focus on. Share success stories from your past challenges. Remind them you've been through this before. You may have been through reorganization, structural changes, other layoffs. Remind them that these times pass and that they have achieved great things through other difficulties. And then focus on that continuous improvement and continuous learning mindset. These areas of focus will give your team something that they know they can take with them in the chance there's another reorganization, in the chance there's another layoff. Focus on the way that they can improve, the way they can learn, and the way they can impact your organization while they remain. So with that, thank you for joining me on Leading Through Loss, 7 Strategies for Navigating Mass Layoffs. My name is Dan Losowitz. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have worked through these strategies previously to success, and I encourage you to structure them to your own organization, structure them to your own team, and focus on either all of these strategies or the ones that you believe will be most impactful for your organization and your team.